Sorry for a delay. We have 5 minutes estimate of arrival of the Ministry of Energy, Sebastian Burduja. I'm very glad to moderate this panel. My name is Radu Tudor. We will discuss about the Black Sea and the potential for regional energy cooperation. Here with me is Alexandru Maximescu, is the Vice President for OMV Romania. Victor Parlikov is the Minister of Energy, the Republic of Moldova. Thank you, Minister. And Jordan Bojilov is the President for the Sofia Security Forum in Bulgaria. Thank you. In a few minutes, Minister Burduja will be here. We will start this debate asking for all the panelists to feel free to engage in all the aspects of the value of the energy assets in the Black Sea, and how can we contribute to our common security, resilience, and the energetic cut of dependence from other sources, energy sources in the East, like Russia. How can Romania, how can NATO contribute for an independence, energy independence for Republic of Moldova? How can we help Ukraine? And how can the Black Sea region become a good hub of clean and strong energy for the whole of Europe? We need to understand that energy is part of our security, and that's why we have this panel, this debate today. Our plans for defense and security for the future in the Black Sea, on the eastern flank of NATO, could not be understood, could not be developed without a strong energy project. And you will see from our panelists that we have very good arguments for this. First of all, I would like to introduce the video message coming from Ambassador Geoffrey Pyatt, who is Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Resources from the United States. If we have this message, we can launch it.
Thank you, Radu. Ministers, colleagues, and friends. It's a pleasure to participate in another timely New Strategy Center event. I'm especially pleased to discuss the energy dimension of our work in the Black Sea region, after Secretary Blinken and Assistant Secretary O'Brien highlighted our broader engagement in last month's Black Sea Security Conference. This forum is also taking place shortly after I led the U.S. delegation to the Three Seas Summit in Vilnius, and days after President Iohannis's visit to Washington, where we were able to speak briefly at the Atlantic Council. All these engagements complement the important themes you are discussing today. As you probably all know, the State Department produced a congressionally mandated Black Sea Security Strategy report not long ago. Through this strategy, we support a Black Sea region that is secure, prosperous, interconnected, and free from threats to territorial integrity, economic coercion, and malign influence. As Secretary Blinken has said, Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine has united Black Sea states around an affirmative vision for this interconnected region and its people. The United States strongly supports that affirmative vision. One of the 5 key pillars of our Black Sea strategy is to promote energy security, particularly through clean energy. We've made real progress towards delivering on this objective with all the Black Sea states. But for today's discussion, I want to focus on opportunities in Romania. Romania is a key NATO ally, supporting the wider region's energy security and leading the transition to clean energy sources. Romania is on the road to becoming Europe's largest gas producer and a significant gas transit hub, which helps to create alternatives to Russian gas. The Vertical Corridor Initiative, for example, will allow liquefied natural gas from the United States and other trusted partners to transit north from Greece using existing infrastructure through Romania and onward to Ukraine's significant natural gas storage facilities. This gas can then continue to Central European countries like Slovakia and Austria, which are trying to transition away from Gazprom. Our collective efforts to phase out Russian gas and reduce the Kremlin's energy revenues are beginning to pay dividends. Last year, for example, Gazprom Group posted a $6.84 billion loss compared to its revenues in 2022. That equates to less funding for Russia's war against Ukraine and less funding with which Russia can threaten and coerce its Black Sea neighbors. These developments are all positive, but in the end, we'll achieve the most enduring energy security by transitioning to clean energy supplies. This is an area where we also have an excellent partnership with Romania. For example, my bureau was proud to provide technical assistance for Romania's new offshore wind law, which recently passed, and we look forward to continuing our collaboration in this frontier of energy transition. I'm also very excited about the work we do together in the region on issues relating to clean hydrogen, geothermal, carbon management, electrification, and industrial decarbonization. I also want to highlight that a cornerstone of this clean energy work is our collaboration on civil nuclear energy. The United States and Romania are partnering to refurbish Unit 1 of the Cernavodă nuclear power plant, as well as to construct new Units 3 and 4, which will nearly double Cernavodă's generation capacity by 2031. We also fully continue to support the small modular reactor project in Doicești, which includes financial backing from the U.S. Export-Import Bank and the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Doicești will not only be an innovative project on its own, it will also establish the nuclear energy supply chains of the future, right through the Black Sea region. All our bilateral cooperation with Romania supports America's Black Sea strategy, and in particular, our support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine and Moldova. Romania was one of the first volunteers to join the G7 in supporting Ukraine's energy sector. The G7 Plus group that my bureau leads now comprises 27 countries and multilateral organizations. Europe, with a significant push from Romania, has integrated Ukraine and Moldova into its power grid, providing needed emergency electricity exports and accelerating the economic pivot towards the West. Romania's work to expand its electricity interconnections to Moldova will also help provide that country with a stable supply of power, as well as security from over-reliance on Russian energy. Romania's interconnection with Ukraine has proven to be a critical safety valve for Ukraine's electricity grid, which remains under constant and brutal Russian attack. Regional electricity trade has become even more important since Russia has escalated its attacks after March 22, trying to take down Ukraine's power generation facilities. Our bilateral work also complements our support for Ukraine's long-term reconstruction and the integration of Ukraine and Moldova into the EU's energy market. Romania has unique experience regarding the structural and legislative changes needed to align with the EU framework, as well as valuable best practices regarding how to absorb the significant amount of aid that comes with the EU accession process. As Romania becomes the first Black Sea country to deploy offshore wind and small modular reactors, it can work with its neighbors, including Ukraine, to establish the clean energy supply chains of the future, fulfilling the visions of our Black Sea strategy and the 3 Seas initiative. Collectively, we will also have to enhance our strong security cooperation as regional energy assets develop. We'll need to protect large commercial investments offshore, Black Sea gas platforms, and wind turbines from physical and cyber attacks. I would end today by emphasizing that the examples I've highlighted are not just physical pipelines, power plants, and electricity cable. Our work with Romania and its neighbors is unlocking the economic potential of this entire region and radically transforming the energy landscape in ways that we are still coming to appreciate. The United States is going to continue to build on our excellent bilateral relationship with Romania to benefit both our countries and the wider region. And with that, I'll say thank you again for inviting me to speak, and I wish you all a very productive conference.
I would like to thank to Geoffrey Pyatt for this important message. Minister Sebastian Burduja is with us, the Minister of Energy of Romania. Thank you, Minister, for being here to our panel. With the agreements of all the panelists, I would like to say that we will have both conversation in English and Romanian, and saying that we all do agree that the first to intervene is Minister Victor Parlikov. He's the Minister of Energy of Republic of Moldova. Victor Parlikov, ascultăm cu mare interes
We will listen with great interest your speech, Minister.
Anyway, and I will start by thanking everyone for having us here, and by the fact that I mean the topic of the panel. I would like the first thesis I would like to actually start with is that it is the regional European transatlantic solidarity and cooperation that built the necessary level of resilience for the entire region to resist, for the entire region to withstand in face of the manipulation of the markets by the Russian Federation, and the fact that the entire geopolitics of energy has changed after the brutal Russian aggression in Ukraine. And in this respect, the key thing was the infrastructure and the interconnections. Particularly, I would like to mention the reverse flow on the Trans-Balkans pipeline, the vertical corridor. I would like to mention IIIb, but most important for us, for Moldova, the big game changer which enabled us to diversify even on the gas side was the synchronization of the grid. And I would like to point a little bit, emphasize this element, because a few people understand how critical this very technical element of synchronization of Ukrainian and Moldovan electricity grids with ENTSO-E was for our ability to withstand the blackmails and the dependence, the unilateral dependence on the critical infrastructure, electricity infrastructure particularly located from Soviet times in the Transnistrian region. And that's what actually enabled us to take more courageous steps in terms of diversification of gas supplies including. So if I were to mention one thing that was a game changer for us particularly, and for Ukraine, as a result, or after the beginning of the war, was this unprecedented decision, political decision made in Brussels to allow for this synchronization, you know, on a fastest possible track, like unprecedented. And thank you for that. And thanks, there's many people who didn't have, who had sleepless nights here in Bucharest, in Ukraine, in Kiev, in Moldova, to make it possible, in Brussels as well. Now, another thing I would like to mention here is that still there are challenges that we are facing for increasing the capacities of the, particularly of the vertical corridor. Technically, it's all simple. Technically, it's all feasible. It's a matter of financing. The conditions for financing gas infrastructure in the EU are linked somehow to potential green hydrogen solutions. And as we know, hydrogen is still quite a new, quite a fresh thing, and it's sometimes very difficult to advocate a business case for hydrogen. And what I must, and I underlined it at the informal consultations with the Minister of Energy in Brussels in April, If we keep conditioning investment in critical infrastructure, in interconnection, and increasing the transmission capacity, the throughput of the gas infrastructure with hydrogen, then we may lose this battle. Particularly, this is important for us because at the beginning of next year, most probably, I will not go into details, but Gazprom will have to reroute the gas supplies for the Transnistrian region through Turkey. And therefore, part of the capacity of the vertical corridor, approximately 5.7 million cubic meters per day, will be required to maintain the current status quo in the Transnistrian region, not to let it fall in a humanitarian crisis and create a regional security crisis. That's why it is important that we address this issue now, as soon as possible, so that the traders and everybody know that by July, when the capacity allocation for the next year are starting to happen, that there will be this capacity available next year. In essence, even a partial, let's say, even it's not a completely functional common EU energy market, but essentially what this crisis demonstrated is that even a partially functional energy markets, they are bringing us a sufficient, minimal, sufficient level of resilience in face of blackmails. Due to flexibility, due to private sector adaptability, due to even if countries stepped in with market regulations and different, market regulations which are kind of playing it back from the free market, an existence of interconnections and market mechanisms made us sufficiently flexible and adaptable to withstand the blackmail from Russia. I would like to mention a little bit about the private sector and the challenges related to investments. A war is always beyond risks, is an opportunity. Now, of course, investments and private sector chase opportunities, but they are mindful of risks. That's why it is extremely important, and we feel it in Moldova more than in other places, that guarantee mechanisms, political guarantee, partial guarantee, insurances exist for private investors to come to the region. Otherwise, they will be hesitant, and instead of chasing the opportunities, their risk departments will kill investment projects in the region. And that would obstruct, that would complicate both rebuild of Ukraine and development of our market. And one of the most important things, which is not directly related to energy, but energy is at the spearhead of that, which I would like to mention, is the information, the hybrid threats and the information war. It is difficult to overestimate the importance of that instrument that the Russian Federation is using. And that had a cost. And I, as an economist, I like to demonstrate, I show on every occasion what happened with TTF quotations around 26th and 27th of September 2022, which basically is an illustration of how hybrid war and how informational and the panic induced by the Russian propaganda has actually costed Europe billions of euro because of the panic on the markets. If you, on the 27th early morning of September 22, Nord Stream 1 and 2 were blown up, and there was certainty that the Russian gas will not reach the European market. Now, what would typically happen in such a circumstance? Everybody would be expecting a boom in prices. What we actually witnessed is the prices went down, and they went down like hell very quickly. That demonstrates that the panic was more dangerous than the certainty that there will be no Russian gas on the market. And that is a result of years of ideological subversion, years of influence operations, information operations, that made Europeans believe that without Russian gas they will freeze, that without Russian gas they will, you name what. No, the reality demonstrated, and when it comes to hard facts, when it comes to fundamental factors, the markets demonstrated that it's not true. But this is an important lesson that we also learned, because particularly in context of elections, and there's always elections somewhere, and in Moldova we always have elections, we like to have elections. It is the information and the battle for the hearts and minds of people that is more important than the security now. Because we have already achieved the level of security, the minimum level of security that we need. Now we need to fight for the hearts and minds of people to support it. And this is a much harder battle than the battle for infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Victor Pavlikov, thank you so much for your introductory remarks. I will give the floor to Sebastian Burduja, the Romanian Minister of Energy. Minister, please.
Thank you, Mr. Tudor, and thank you to the distinguished panelists, and special thanks to my dear friend Victor Pavlikov. Always good to see you. Thanks, brother. I will start from there and mention the fact that, in my opinion, oftentimes Russia's worst enemy is Russia. And I'll explain why. And I had this insight over a glass of wine with Victor Pavlikov in Chisinau. And of course I was praising the Moldovan wine and saying, look, it's amazing. I'm coming from a country that also has good wine, like Romania. And he said, well, you know who's responsible for this amazing wine? And I said, no. And he says, Putin. And I said, what? And he explained, we used to produce mass quantities of Moldovan wine, which was, a lot, but of poor quality. And we would ship it across the border into Russia. When they were hit with the Russian embargo on Moldovan wine, the local producers were forced to innovate. They were forced to diversify. They were forced to address other markets. And so they had to dramatically improve the quality of Moldovan wine, which makes it among the best in the world today. I think that goes to show that, in energy, it's not a much different story. Russia started a war of aggression in Ukraine, completely uncalled for, completely unjust. I think we can all agree on that. And they completely undermined the most effective weapon they used to have against Europe, which was energy blackmail. After the war started, it was an amazing effort by Moldova, by Ukraine, to synchronize their systems. It's an amazing effort because what Romania did, I think, over 8 to 10 years, which was synchronizing its energy grid with the European grid, took a matter of weeks or months for our brothers in Moldova and for the Ukrainians. That's a huge accomplishment. And then, essentially, all of Europe was faced with the task of diversifying away from Russian energy, which I think in large part was accomplished. Now, of course, there's still EU members that have chosen not to diversify away from Russian energy. Not that they did not have the alternative, and some of them are our neighbors. And that's fine, as long as we all admit it, that it was and continues to be unfair. Now, with all the investments that have gone into gas infrastructure and interconnections in our grids, Russia does not have that weapon of blackmail anymore, or at least in a much, much lower proportion. And what Victor has accomplished is the best proof for the people in the Republic of Moldova that they do not have to depend on Gazprom. The prices that he got are much better than before. And that is the best argument you can have for EU accession, for looking west, not east, for bringing Moldova in its place, in its well-deserved place, which is in Europe and close to Romania. So, well done. Now, of course, we have also answered the call. And I think that, with all modesty, and I can say this because it's really not my merit, it's a merit of my team and of the entire system, we have also really pushed the pedal on investments. In, in interconnections, obviously Suceava Bălți is priority 0, and we have committed to 2027, I believe. So I'm fully confident that Transelectrica will accomplish this priority 0 project. I'm fully confident that the third line from Gutinaș to Strășeni, close to Chișinău, on the same line as Chișinău, will also be done. Indeed, for the resilience of the Republic of Moldova to only rely on the southern interconnection, which goes through Gagauzia into Ukraine, back into the Republic of Moldova, is not the best option you can have. That's why these investments are absolutely critical, and Romania is fully committed to accelerate and support. Same goes for gas interconnections. We have played, and Mr. Sterian is not here from Transgaz, but indeed Romania has played a leadership role in the entire region, bringing everybody around the table and saying, look, we can do reverse flow on the vertical corridor. We can fuel Moldova, Ukraine, and the rest of Central Europe with gas coming in the terminals in Turkey, in Greece, up the pipeline. I'm glad, and it looks like the Bulgarians have finally answered the call on the IIIb to increase capacity, to be able to deliver that gas. And we will have gas to deliver ourselves, because in 2027, Romania will be the #1 gas producer in Europe, thanks to Neptune Deep. It's a project that is on track, 4 billion euros. I'm proud that a company like Romgaz, majority state-owned, has played a key role in the project, has advanced it, has taken the bold decision to make a $1 billion investment into what was previously Exxon's share and get into the project, unlock it, and start it. And I think it's on a path of no return, based on the investments that have already gone into the project, on the contracts that have been signed. I think close to 90% of the contracts already done, are signed. So I'm very confident that we'll be on track. And then, of course, we have pushed the pedal on additional production capacities. In gas, we're working on, I think, over 3,000 megawatts, 1,700 a private investment. I saw the turbine coming in yesterday. It's the largest turbine in our country. It will be the largest gas plant in Europe, 1,700 megawatts in Mintia. Then around 1,300 megawatts in Gorj with Oltenia Energy Complex in Ișalnița and Turceni. Then a number of modernized district heating plants, cogeneration plants, the most important one in Craiova, 300 megawatts. And more. Iernut is finally close to being done. I don't want to say we're there yet. I'll say it on December 2nd, I hope. That is their target date. But from all the meetings we've had with Duro Felguera and Romgaz and everybody involved, I think we can finally celebrate probably the most important energy project in the country in many, many years, in the heart of the country, the Iernut gas power plant. And of course, green energy. We've financed, I believe, around 10 gigawatts of solar and wind in Romania, and just during my mandate. So that went to show that the private market does mobilize when you pay some funds in grants. They will come, they will answer the call as well. And I think that will make Romania arguably the most important energy producer in the whole region. We have more work to do. I think we have a lot of work to do in storage, hydro-pumped, Tarnița, but also battery storage. And I think we have a lot more work to do in modernizing our grid. And we have invested around €1 billion so far. Contracts have been signed. We hope for another $500 million by the end of the year through the modernization fund. So my message is very clear. We will always stand by the Republic of Moldova. We will always stand by Ukraine. We will always stand against Russian aggression, and energy plays a critical role in that effort.
Minister Burduja, thank you so much for your presentation. We're going to the next shore of the Black Sea. We're going to Jordan Bojilov, the president of the Sofia Security Forum of Bulgaria. Jordan.
Yeah, thank you very much. When we speak about energy, it is important, of course, to speak about energy security or providing security for energy infrastructure. And we in Bulgaria experienced this very vividly after the war in Ukraine erupted. Before the war, Bulgaria used to import about 78% gas from Russia. That's almost 100% dependency. And in April 2022, Russia stopped supply overnight, just stop it. And we experienced, and we now know more than everyone that diversification, the security of supplies is very, very important. Now we receive zero gas from Russia. And it is because of diversification, because of the fact that countries in the region manage to create interconnectors in the sphere of electricity. Our electricity grids are interconnected. We have interconnections of gas infrastructure. And because of this, region is becoming more and more important for Europe as a hub where supplies from different regions, from Central Asia, from Caucasus, from our own region, but also around the globe, connects with Europe. And again, we have to think more about security because we have to protect this unique position of our region. And unfortunately, we have less and less security in the region. Of course, the major challenge is the war, Russian aggressive war against Ukraine. We don't know when it ends, how it ends. There are different scenarios. Unfortunately, some of them are very negative, including Russia trying to occupy the whole southern part of Ukraine, depriving Ukraine the exit to the Black Sea, which will be a nightmare for all other countries, littoral countries, not only for Ukraine. And of course, because of this war, we have a very complex insecurity situation. It's not just a war, but there are security issues which are a result of this war. We have floating sea mines. We have aggressive action of Russia against littoral countries, including NATO countries. I'll give an example. Last year, Russia blocked the Bulgarian exclusive economic zone, only almost 30%, even more, for 7 months. We were not able to use this portion of our economic zone for 7 months, for fishery, for exploring nefty gas, for transportation, etc., etc., etc. This creates, of course, huge insecurity in the region. We have ecological problems in the Black Sea, again, as a result of this war of aggression. We have different threats for navigation coming from Russian aggressive activities, mainly against Ukrainian vessels which transfer Ukrainian goods, but it is also threat to the whole maritime system in the Black Sea. We have risks of sabotage against energy infrastructure. By the way, not only energy, but energy in particular. What about gas exploration platforms? What about undersea cables? What about onshore energy infrastructure? So we have to think more about security when it comes to the energy. And I think we have to properly address this, because insecurity already put at hold some of the projects in the Black Sea. Second, insecurity already skyrocketing the insurances. I mean, insurances for ships more than doubled in the Black Sea. We have to think about risks for financing agent, because the cost of construction of energy infrastructure rises immensely. To address all these complex issues, because it is very complex in security, we need new approaches. First, and we advocated in our common paper of, I see here Tachane Odem from EDAM, from Turkey, New Strategy Center Sofia Security Forum, we wrote a paper on the NATO's role in the Black Sea, where we advocated that NATO should elaborate a comprehensive approach in order to address comprehensive and very complex security issues. Last month we were in European Commission when we discussed different scenarios in the Black Sea, including scenarios involving critical infrastructure. So we have to work much closer together. We have to work closer on the regional landscape. There is already an initiative between Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey, which addresses the issue of the free-floating sea mines. But we still lack capabilities to do this very effectively. And by the way, let's think that Russia has superiority in military assets in the Black Sea. At the same time, NATO countries lack some of key defense capabilities. So we have to address this issue. We need innovative approaches. We need much closer cooperation between state agencies which are responsible for energy, plus militaries, plus businesses. We have to establish this much closer link. We have to have better information sharing in the Black Sea. And of course, we have to increase regional military cooperation and coordination. It was mentioned before, cybersecurity. We have to think more about protecting critical infrastructure, including energy infrastructure for cyber attacks. Russia is good, we know that, but we have to be prepared, ready, and to properly address hybrid attacks. And it's not only information. Yeah, I'll give, by the way, one example. There was a project in Bulgaria about installing wind energy turbines in the Black Sea. And this project was almost killed with the information, or false information, or misinformation. So we have to address the information campaigns against us properly. We'll have separate panel on this issue. But unfortunately, we understand that this is a threat, but we are not good enough to address it. We need more, better strategic communication from the states, from different organizations. And my last point, we have to think that Russia's arsenal, hybrid arsenal, is huge. And we have to develop different scenarios and to foresee what Russia might do in order to disrupt or even destroy. So again, there is a huge potential for regional cooperation, but unfortunately, we have to think also how to address security issues in order to realize this potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan Boshilov. Just would like to remind to our audience that half of the Russian fleet ships are becoming submarines in the last year. So we should take this success as granted to increase the NATO security in the Black Sea area. I would like to give the floor to Alexandru Maximescu, who is the Vice President of OMV Petrom. Alexandru Maximescu, please have your presentation, and after that we'll have the video clip with Neptune Deep. Alex Maximescu, please.
Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations for New Strategy Center, because I think such debates, especially in the eastern part of Europe, is very important. Putting the Black Sea on the stage, I think, is important not only for Romania, but also for Moldova, Bulgaria, and the other countries in the region. I would like to present you a little bit of our flagship project, Neptune Deep, and I'm telling you also why I think it is important to speak about this. More than a year ago, we were here, very close to our final investment decision. A lot of rumors, a lot of people didn't trust that OMV Petrom and Romgaz were able to do such a project. We are very proud that we have demonstrated that we are able to do it. Romgaz and OMV Petrom have an equal share in this project, 50-50. This project will put Romania into a very well-deserved position, namely being the biggest gas producer in the European Union. As you can see, it was a long journey. After the first exploration phase of this project, a lot of evaluation has taken place. We've had to change one of the partners. This took also some time, but finally, mid of 2023, we took the final investment decision, and the National Agency for Mineral Resources has confirmed August 2023 our investment plan. We started the procurement of this project. The minister has told us already 90% of this project is already contracted. We are very proud to have first-tier contractors for this project. Saipem, one of the biggest Italian companies, Transocean and Halliburton from the US, also world-renowned companies, are part of this project. This gives us confidence that the project will be delivered in time and in budget. I think that's very important for us. Now we are at the stage where we are close to get the environmental impact assessment. Then we will follow up with the rest of the documents and submit it to the Ministry of Energy for the final construction permit, which we hope to have by end of October. This is our timeline. Why is it so important and so crucial, especially in these times of insecurity in the Black Sea? As you can see, the project is situated roughly 170 miles from the Romanian shore. We aim at starting the first gas production in 2027, roughly with 140,000 BOE production per day. And the estimated reserves right now are at 100 BCM. The total investment will be close to 4 billion euros. This is the concept of development of this project. Part of the project will be developed in the deep waters of the Black Sea. This means that the wells are more than 1,000 meters below the sea. The other part of the project at a more shallow part of the Black Sea. The pipeline that will be laid down for the project that will tie in Tuzla, close to Tuzla, to the Romanian national transmission system is 160 kilometers long. I wouldn't say it is a major project only for Romania. I would dare and say it is a major project also for the region. I'm we will try to give you also some background for this. It will reduce a lot the emissions, and I think it is important to underline this. Gas is playing a crucial role also in the on our route towards a zero carbon economy. And further, we've put together a slide to demonstrate the emissions that Neptune Deep has overall compared to similar projects worldwide. So our emission intensity is at 2.80 kilograms CO2 per BOE. It is one of the, or perhaps one of the lowest worldwide. The average of similar projects is 20.3, so 10 times higher. What is the key of this very low figure? It is Mother Nature and our engineers. This is the combination. Because we do not need a compressor station in order to ship gas onshore. Because of the very, very good reservoir, this is shipped naturally towards the shore. And by integrating all this together, we have this very low intensity of the project. In the end, looking at the region, this gas can supply the countries neighboring Romania, starting with Moldova. Minister, we are very proud that in the latest months, OMV Petrom was winning all the tenders, delivering gas security and for Moldova. Perhaps looking back 2 years ago, December 2022, and cheaper than Gazprom. Looking back in December 2022, when Moldova has faced a real electricity crisis, the cooperation between the Romanian Ministry of Energy, Moldova, and the companies in Romania was so successful. In 24 hours, we took over, the Romanian companies took over the whole supply for Republic and Moldova, and we demonstrated that it is possible also in a crisis situation to respond properly and to help Moldova. Last summer, when the majority of filling stations were dry in diesel in Republic of Moldova, Petrom filling stations in Moldova were not dry. And we will continue to support Moldova. Finally, perhaps a few remarks from my side concerning the Black Sea nowadays. Crucial is the cooperation regionally and transatlantic, and I think this has been demonstrated via a variety of initiatives. Starting with the demining cooperation agreement between Bulgaria, Turkey, and Romania, followed by the Black Sea strategy that was adopted in the US end of last year. Interconnections are crucial in order to help each other. Private-public partnerships are also key. In the end, indigenous gas production, electricity production is the key for our energy security. And of course, looking at innovative technologies like green hydrogen, like renewables, coupled with storage capabilities, CO2 storage, the electrification of transport and biofuels, those are all areas where we at OMV Petrom are looking at. And over the next 3 years, we have the most ambitious investment strategy in the history of the company. Over 2024, 2025, 2026, we will invest each year around 8 billion RON in the energy security of the region. Thank you very much, and happy to answer further questions. Thank you.
Thank you for this great presentation. Unfortunately, Minister Burduja has to leave. He has 2 meetings at the government. I want to thank him for the presentation and being here, and the engagement that you have the approval for the project that OMV Petrom asked it. It was public. Thank you so much.
Under the requirements of the law.
We will continue with the debate, but first of all, I want to thank 2 ambassadors that are here present. I want to thank you, all of us, Ambassador Gramatica and Ambassador Ildem. Thank you for being here to our debate, to our panel today. I would like to have a 10 minutes discussion with the panelists, and of course you are free to put questions and to intervene. Jordan, you said something very interesting about our concentration. We need to focus on a security issue. What is the transformation of our understanding of our action, of our capability, since Russia transformed the Black Sea in a war theater? Are the energy projects and resources from Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey affected by the Russian aggression in the Black Sea?
Look, what we have to understand, first, Russia has military capabilities and predominant military power in the Black Sea. Yes, many ships are already submarines, as you said, but Russia is learning how to repair. Russia is moving new assets to the Black Sea. Russia has submarines, Russia has missiles, Russia has unmanned system, and Russia is producing a lot of new stuff. So let's think about potential Russia's targets. I don't think that Russia will dare to attack directly militarily NATO countries. But for Russia, unity of NATO is a key, probably key target. That's why we developed scenarios in which Russia attacks critical infrastructure of NATO country, particularly offshore, because offshore facilities are not protected by Article 5, plus we don't have enough capabilities to protect. Why Russia will do this? Just to show that Russia can dare using forces, military forces, and there will be no probably reaction. I would not go into details with this, but it's not, we should not consider this as fictional scenarios. Of course, Russia will use all other hybrid forms of attacking. Now, I mean, what about, presence of Russian ships in front of gas extraction platforms or many, many others? I mean, very, very many scenarios about Russian activities, and we have to be prepared.
Thank you, Jordan. I would like to ask Viktor Parlikov, what is the dimension of the energy production in Transnistria? How much and how long this energy production will be delivered to the whole Republic of Moldova, and what is the future for this region?
Thank you very much. It is indeed a tricky question, and it's very difficult to answer shortly because it requires a better understanding of the context. But to put it very short, on the territory that is controlled by the constitutional authorities of Moldova, which is Moldova without the Transnistrian region, we have demonstrated that we can have the minimum amount of resilience, the minimum of security, to not depend on the critical infrastructure located from the Soviet times placed in the Transnistrian region. And that's changing a lot the dynamics. That's why when I mentioned about synchronization, it's not just about, it's very technical, but it's not about a technical change. it enabled us to take more courageous steps with respect to diversification of gas supply. It enabled us, it improved a lot our negotiation positions with respect to the Transnistrian region. So what is our biggest concern now in the region is that the region stays stable. We do not want to destabilize the region. Russia created a model in which, for many reasons, I will not go into the details, Moldovans were financing separatism in their own country. How that happened? Very roughly, the gas for free flows into the Transnistrian region. They turn it in a number of creative ways into an illusion of economy in that region. That's export of metals, that's many other things, but the biggest contributor to their budget is actually selling electricity to the right bank, selling electricity to the rest of Moldova. About 50% of the Transnistrian budget is made up with resources, with the money that we are paying for electricity that we buy from them. Figures differ from year to year, but this is, you understand the magnitude. And quickly renouncing to that means throwing the region into a collapse, into a social collapse, into a humanitarian collapse, and eventually destabilizing the region, including militarily. And these people will not vanish. Over 90% of these people have Moldovan passports, and they will not evaporate. They would either become internally displaced persons that we would have to, I like very much how our Vice Prime Minister for Reintegration of the country is putting it. We don't want a problem in Transnistria because their problem immediately becomes our problem. These people will not evaporate. They will either become internally displaced people that we would have to take care of on the right bank, or we would have to supply energy, and technically this is possible. There's no problem in supplying both gas and electricity to the region, but the question is who pays for it. The whole model now only works because they pay zero effectively for gas. As soon as they start paying something, that something is deducted from their resilience in terms of their budget. That's why it's an extremely complicated situation. What you asked is the horizon of the time. That's why we not willing to throw the region into a crisis. We want to have this time, and we declared that we will not obstruct supply of gas from Gazprom de facto for free to the region after 2024, when the contracts between Russia and Ukraine expire on the transit. But we're mindful also, and I think we are more concerned than the entire European Union. I mean, most of the questions I'm getting from the US and from the European Union is what will happen in Transnistria? How do we make sure that these guys there, kind of stay calm? Because, in fact, it is not so much anymore about the security of the rest of Moldova. It's now about them. And the contract that we're having with Gazprom now expires in 2026. It's still some time, but it's very limited time for the entire region to start adapting to a reality that sometimes you have to, from time to time, you have to learn how to pay for your energy sources. And that must happen gradually, otherwise it will happen extremely abruptly, and that would create the crisis. So this is a long answer to a short question. Thank you.
Thank you, Viktor Pavlikov. I would like to ask the audience if there are any questions or interventions, please. The mic is coming.
Shahmar Hajiev from Azerbaijan. Thank you very much for your interesting notes. And you mentioned correctly that the war changed the traditional energy map of Europe, and now we have a different story. And but you mentioned the dependence on Russian gas and how countries managed to decrease. But at the same time, we should to take into account the role of Russian LNG. So if the last year it was like 16% from the total EU's LNG supply. And if we compare the numbers with 2021, it's like 40% more. So we see at the same time decrease of pipeline gas, but increase of LNG to European markets. So I think it should be also taken into consideration. I have one question for Minister and one question for the regarding the Neptune Deep project. You mentioned very well the Moldovan plan how to decrease Russian gas, the diversification of supplies. And do you have the plan to join to the Southern Gas Corridor, and when Moldova can get the first gas, and also the Black Sea submarine cable? We know that Romania, Bulgaria, Azerbaijan, Georgia established very good partnership in terms of energy, and I think that after signing the solidarity link between the countries, Moldova has a really good chance to join to this project. Regarding the Neptune Deep, you mentioned that the project will be the game changer in the region, and also the dear speaker mentioned the security and issues in the Black Sea, and we know that Russia has very good capability. And do you think that they can use these I mean like some military aggression or the sabotage to Neptune Deep the project, as it's like the offshore project, and from economic standpoint how the private companies can see the future of this challenge? Thank you.
Thank you. Please, two brief answers because we have 2 more minutes. Viktor Polikov.
Very briefly, when it comes to participation in all sorts of in different infrastructure and interconnection projects, we are strongly interconnecting with electricity grid with Romania. That's why we don't think that there's a need at this point, at least, because it complicates the project, and it would delay the project very much with the cable. We can benefit of the results of this cable entering the Romanian territory by simply being part of the same market. And our target is to be integrating our market into the European energy market through the Romanian market by 2029, when all these interconnections are done. And then it will eventually become, we will benefit from the cable as well. When it comes to the gas, it's the same. The biggest concern is the increase of the capacity of the vertical corridor. Other than that, we want to, and we are already becoming, and we're already working with Ukraine and the countries from Greece to Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and Ukraine, to basically create a solution that would allow to allow European traders, international traders, maybe American traders, to substitute the model that was previously used by Gazprom, where they basically filled the Western Ukrainian gas storage facilities in summer, and that gave them the competitive advantage of increasing the supplies in winter and covering the peaks. And this can be done through increasing, again, the capacity of the vertical corridor, and this needs to be done quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Viktor Polikov. Alex Maximesu.
The fact that the two companies, Romgaz and OMV Petrom, took the decision to invest last year, I think, is a sign of confidence in the Black Sea. Nevertheless, we are looking at all kinds of risks, starting with the obvious one, but looking also at the hybrid one. We are in very close cooperation with the Romanian authorities, with the neighboring countries, and we are confident that through this cooperation, the project is and will be delivered on time. The fact that Bulgaria, Turkey, and Romania have decided to take very concrete steps together for increasing security in the Black Sea is a good sign. the fact that the eastern flank of NATO is now in the focus, I think, is also a sign of confidence. Last but not least, the fact that also the US is looking in this region in a very structured manner is an additional thing that gives us confidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex Maximescu. We have to end this debate here to our panel. I would like to thank the panelists. I would like to thank the honorable audience. And I'll see you again in the next New Strategy Center Forum. And of course, I invite you to join the next panels. Thank you.